Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Bell to Bell with Bobby Blaze. We are getting ready to roll into the 4th of July, and because of this, we're doing something a little patriotic today. But before we get to that, joining us now, Arn Anderson's favorite enhancement talent, Double B Bobby Blaze.
Fuck you, Hutch. You're a real dilettante, man. I'm going to tell you that right now. Starsky and Hutch, 1976. I got a bone to pick with David Soul. He used that F word on TV, man. He tried to tell Hutch, Starsky, that wrestling was, Anyway, he said that. Hey, it's me, Double B, Bobby Blaze. Yeah, we're going to celebrate the bicentennial. We're going back to 1976 in the year that was in professional wrestling and all things pop culture, it sounds like this week. Yeah. Tell them what that's from, Jeremy. I mean, obviously Starsky and Hutch, but...
Well, You posted it yesterday, or you forwarded it to me or something, but there was a clip on Twitter going around of Starsky and Hutch, and talking about wrestling, which is in 1976, which is appropriate for us this week because it hits all the high points of what we're talking about. It's TV, it's the bicentennial, and it's pro wrestling.
Yeah, and he just basically says, you don't know anything about the no commitment or knowledge about the real arts, that professional wrestling is an art, and Hutch comes out and says and uses the F word. But what's funny about that? That's the summer of '76. I went from 12-year-old, I turned 13, but man, I had an orange 10-speed bike, a Huffy or a Murphy or something, and to me, that was my red Gran Torino there, or whatever it was, with the white stripe. Man, that was me. I was like pedaling around Ashland, peddling newspapers, throwing water balloons off of it. Man, it was just a really cool time for celebration for our country then. And I found that clip was just like, holy shit, I got to send this to Jeremy right away.
That was super on point for this week.
It was, man.
Oh, man.
It was.
I don't think, besides like an episode maybe about 5 or 10 years ago, I don't think I've actually seen Starsky and Hutch since the 70s.
Yeah, probably me too. It seems like right around the time that movie came out, that did a remake of it, they might have been some stuff for them, but maybe if it was on reruns in the 80s, I don't remember, but I'm with you. Maybe since the 70s on the run-throughs. You may see clips here or there on YouTube or whatever. Huggy Bear, man, who can forget him, right?
Oh, yeah. Did you know there used to be a toy company called Mego, and Mego held the license for everything: Planet of the Apes, Star Trek, Happy Days, all the superheroes, Marvel and DC, but they also made Starsky and Hutch toys, and there was a Huggy Bear doll.
Oh, cool. And mothers and fathers were buying pimp dolls for the kids.
I'm sure they were.
He was one of the CI and a pimp both. He was smooth, man. Jeremy, let me back up here real quickly, okay?
Yeah.
Jill, let me just get some school notes out of the way here. July 17th, Ironton, Ohio, FTC comes back. They got a really big show planned. Going to use all the students. Got people from WWF. Got a special guest I'm not allowed to announce right now. It's going to be showing up. It's at the Rona Theater, man, and it's going to be a really good show. Jillian Hall will be there. She's been doing excellent with the students, as always. And it's looking real good, man. I'm excited for the show, for the students, and also for the talent coming in. Also, I get to see Shane Douglas. Hadn't seen him for a while. I've talked to him. And I ran into D'Lo Brown yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
Didn't know if you saw that picture. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. I missed it.
D'Lo made... Yeah, he worked, he was in West Virginia for a couple shots, and then he had a booking at the Time Warp. Shout out to Earl and Joe. I'll be at the Time Warp August the 14th. I'll be at the Time Warp in Ashland. It's going to be back to school with Bobby Blaze. We're going to be doing something, a bunch of autograph signing and this and that. But yeah, so D'Lo was in town and got to hang out with him for about an hour yesterday. That was cool. And then... August the 7th, I'm in Beckley, West Virginia, in Shane Storm's corner against the legendary Jerry the King Lawler. And Dennis Condrey is involved in that match as an enforcer, so who knows what's going to happen, but that's for ASW, and that's at the Bash in Beckley on August the 7th. So again, July 17th at the Rona Theater in Ironton, Ohio, August 7th in Beckley, West Virginia, August the 14th, my 4 looks like a 7, but it is the 14th, at the Ashland Town Center at the Time Warp. Come down, hang out with Bobby Blaze, back to school Bobby Blaze. So that's that, Jeremy, just getting that out of the way there.
Please tell me you and Dennis Condrey aren't going to fight.
God, I hope not. I don't need my ass kicked. I'm just there to manage. I want to help Shane Storm get over. I'm going to tell him the secret to beating Lawler, and that is, get it booked that way. No.
Pencil.
There you go, the office hole, baby, the pencil. No, I don't know what's going to happen, man, because when I agreed to do it, the match to help Shane, which I feel honored to do, and ASW always treats me so good when I'm up that way or down that way, I guess, this time. I didn't know Condrey was going to be a part of it, but apparently he's going to be. So, we'll see what happens, man. My song, I Won't Back Down, Tom Petty there, so
that's right.
Got to uphold that. We'll just see. But,
That's kind of wild. Yeah, I might have missed that. I kind of had my hands full yesterday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I'm a busy man, Bobby,
I know you are.
Run a podcast and do some artwork and raising a puppy. I'm a busy guy.
I know that. And you killed it on notes this week, man. They look great.
Yeah. It's not like I was just hanging
better than my handwritten ones in a notebook.
I wasn't just hanging out on a patio drinking beer or anything all day yesterday.
Yeah, I know you're just trying to get ahead in this world, but listen.
Yeah.
This podcast is important.
Oh, all right. So this week we are talking about the bicentennial. 1976 was the 200th anniversary of the ceremonial official start date of America as a country. I was a very young man at the time. Bobby, you were just a bit older than me, so our memories may not be 100% on everything, but we got a lot of stuff to cover.
Yes, we do. It's to me, it's a good time, going from 6th grade into 7th grade, getting to go to the junior high school. My junior high was 7th, 8th, 9th then, and there was 2 of them in town. And I went to Coles, where all the cool kids went, and man, that's some of the best years of my life. So we got a lot to get into. Of course, I know you got a bunch of news stuff written down here. We got movie stuff, TV stuff. I went back to the way when we used to do our top 10s. I went back to what I did. I just kind of wrote down a bunch of notes from memory. And then I just checked a couple of dates, and then I got online and saw all their notes, and I was like, yeah, that's I appreciate that very much. I want to say one more thing when I'm telling you thanks, because you kind of sent this to me as a birthday present. I want to thank my brother Jim and Joe and Casey and whoever else was involved in putting together my surprise birthday party. Jeremy, I haven't had a birthday party since I was 40 fucking years old. I was over to the Art Grappling School on Tuesday night, and they put together a damn surprise birthday party for me. I had no clue about it. I'd received a text from someone a week or 2 before asking about my favorite pies, and I thought that was odd. But when I went back, it was actually from one of my sons. And then I thought it was from Casey. And then someone asked me what I liked on my pizza toppings, and it just kept one little thing after another. I didn't put it together, man. And I was there finishing up the camp, and I saw a big cooler. Then I saw a 30-pack come through. Then I saw some up another case of beer, and then I saw some pizzas come in, and I told Jill, I said, I think my brother's trying to have me a surprise party. She said, you think? And so we just stopped what we were doing, and it turned out to be really nice. And I usually used to rent the ring and have it for a few days on my birthday just so I could be doing something involved in wrestling. I'd let people come over. But now they weren't really parties. We'd do a little cookout in my yard, or something after 3 or 4 days of the seminars or training or whatever I was doing. But hadn't had a party since I was 40, and I was like, damn, man, I smiled. I'm still smiling. It was a good feeling. So thank everyone at the Art of Grappling School. Thank everyone at FTC, and thank you, Jim. And also for all the people that sent me birthday wishes on Facebook. My brother put that together as well. Because I don't have it, but I got a lot of Facebook comments. I appreciate those, and I got some really nice birthday wishes from our listeners that follow me on Twitter at BobbyBlaze744. So thank you very much. Yeah. I appreciate all that. And Jeremy, you didn't even fucking send me an In-N-Out burger. That's what I was wanting from you.
It wouldn't have made it there, Bobby.
I know.
It wouldn't have made it out of my car, more than likely.
I heard that. But yeah, sorry to backtrack on that, but yeah, I wanted to put that out there, man. So, 76, one of the first things come to my mind, I know you got a bunch of new stuff. Let me get this out of the way real quick, okay? Mm-hmm. The Olympics. I went, and we can go back and discuss this, but I went with the Montreal Olympics in 1976. I'm just putting about 3 or 4 names out there, because I was so into it. And, of course, Bruce Jenner won the decathlon, and we can come back to that. But I wrote down Edwin Moses won he was a hurdler. I remember him. And then Sugar Ray Leonard was probably the most over boxer that came out that year as that turned pro. He was won gold. But Nadia Comaneci, man, a 14-year-old girl from Romania, got all those fucking perfect 10s, man. Dude, I fell in love right there. I'm like, man, I don't know where Romania's at, but I like that look and I like that girl, and, man, she just, first ever Olympian, a gold medal, get a perfect 10. And, she's had five overall golds. She got 3 golds that year. Man, that's just incredible, man. I just wanted to bring it up for the Olympics. That was my Olympic memories, was just really good. And Bruce Jenner was on all the boxes of Wheaties, but I'll say this, that fucking Nadia Comaneci, she could have backflipped through my Wheaties every fucking morning and every night. I loved it. So that's 76 for me on that summer. So I'll throw the ball back to you, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, I try to round up as much of flavor and news story, and I sprinkle wrestling throughout it, but I also want a whole picture of what we were doing in 76,
Right.
So I just want to kind of hit some news stories that we can comment on real quick, or just let them go, however we want to deal with it. But January 14th, 1976, the Lutz family flees 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, Long Island, New York. 28 days after having moved in, and this leads to the book, The Amityville Horror, which is still connected to these, like, the Conjuring movies now.
Yes.
The thing that cracks me up about this is that everybody has admitted that the Amityville Horror was a bunch of shit. They bought a house they couldn't afford, and they had to get the fuck out. And it just so happens that the guys, the family that lived there before, their son went fucking batshit and murdered everybody. So there's blood in the toilets and coming out of the walls. And, oh, no, we're not just trying to get out of our loan. We got to get out of here.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. I'm not into all those Conjuring movies, but I went to one of it. It might have been a second one or something, only because it was back when one of my boys and my nephew and my niece were still in school, and the girls wanted to go. My nieces did, and I went with my brother, and I sat through it. That shit just freaks me out. So, them baby dolls and stuff, just that, Annabelle or whatever, like all that stuff. I'm not into that stuff, man. But I do remember that movie, that story about the Amityville Horror. God. Yeah.
I remember my parents used to go to a lot of horror and kung fu flicks at the drive-in. And I remember seeing Amityville Horror as a little kid, man. And I remember it just being freaking scary, Yeah. I saw it back then, whatever year that came out, but again, that's not my favorite genre. Yeah.
But
all right, so we're gonna go on to Super Bowl 10.
Yeah. I had that in my notes.
Yeah, Steelers defeat the Cowboys 21-17 at the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida.
Yep.
Steelers, huh?
They had several. They had several there in the late 70s. They really had some good teams. Yeah. The Iron Curtain, I think. Iron Curtain. Terry Bradshaw, quarterback. Big Mean Joe Green with the Coke commercial. Hey, kid. And he turned around and threw him his jersey.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. That might have been a couple years after the fact, but, we're building to that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's that era. Anyway, memory. What you got next year? Because this is something right up your alley. On a Geekish Cast, you can find him. You can find a professor. And if you could see these notes, you know why I call him the professor. But you can follow him at the Geekish Cast, and here's why he comes up with this next one. Go ahead.
Apple Computers is a company formed by Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak in the year of 1976.
Yeah.
Back before anybody even thought there could be a personal computer.
Yeah, computers then were like room sized, I guess.
Yeah.
HAL and IBM, just huge,
Yeah, I ran off a ticker tape and shit.
Yeah.
The National Basketball Association and the American Basketball Association agree on an ABA-NBA merger.
Yes, this was important to me, man, because I had been following a guy. You've very got any little coverage. Kentucky Colonels had a team. But we didn't get much coverage over here in Eastern Kentucky. We got most of the NBA. We didn't get a lot of ABA. And, of course, Indiana had the Pacers and things. But there was a guy playing for the Nest by the name of Dr. J, Julius Irving, and I could not wait for that year because I'd get to see all the guys I'd heard about in the ABA get to play in the NBA. And I automatically became a 76er fan. I almost said 1970. I automatically became a 76er fan when Dr. J got picked up by the Sixers when they merged. And also they kept four teams. There was a Denver Nuggets stayed, Indiana Pacers stayed, or they joined. Leaving out one I know of, but the other one was one other one, San Antonio Spurs. New York Nets, they came, but the Spurs, man, George Garvin, the Iceman cometh, as a popular poster in the 70s. Also, I had a Bruce Lee poster that's popular in the 70s that came out, man, in our little weekly reader magazine or something. Or I had like Dr. J and Bruce Lee and George Gerwin, Gerving on my wall. That was three of the posters I had from that year.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool that they merged. I liked it as a basketball fan.
Yeah.
So anyway, keep going. I'm just throwing you memories as we go, brother.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's why this stuff's here.
Yeah.
I think this one's a big deal because of just, the space exploration was hotter than shit in the 70s. And it's just continued to cool off since. But now that private industry is getting back into it, it's heating up again. But the Viking 1 landed successfully on Mars, taking the first close-up photos of the Martian surface. A few months later, Viking 2 would arrive, and it would sit in orbit of the planet, and then it would set down at Utopia Planitia on Mars.
Occupy Mars, man.
That's it. And I had to throw this one in there. In September of 1976, the first lander craft as an experimental space shuttle was sent up. I can't remember what they were going to call it originally, but Star Trek fans started a write-in campaign and got its name changed to the Enterprise.
Nice.
And they rolled it out in Palmdale, California, and had the crew, the main players from the original Star Trek TV series, which is all there was at this time, were on hand to watch it launch and land.
Wow.
That was kind of cool.
That's cool.
The Reds sweep the Yankees to win the 1976 World Series.
Yes. That's the Big Red Machine. They won it in 75 and 76, and that's when they had Pete Rose, Johnny Bench, Joe Morgan, Dave Concepcion. I watched those games, man. Of course, Reggie Jackson played for New York at that time. But, that was a big around here. We are in the Cincinnati market, especially at that time. We didn't have a lot of cable access around here. But the Reds were, on our local play. But, of course, the World Series on national level, we did get those games on ABC or what have you, who has played them back in the day.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I'm glad you put that in there, man.
Yep.
Big Red Machine, yeah.
November 2nd, Jimmy Carter defeats Gerald Ford, becoming the first Southern president since the Civil War.
Yeah, I saw that. I remember that. Him winning, of course, that Carter was our new president, But when you put that becoming the first candidate from the Deep South, I knew that, but I didn't know it was since the Civil War. So that's very interesting. And how can a fucking war be civil anyway, Jeremy, really?
Yeah, but, that's a good question. Yeah, what's so civil about war anyway?
Exactly. Yeah, not a damn thing.
The last note I've got on this is Hotel California. It was released by the Eagles that year. Yes.
Now, I tell you what I got. I put this on my notes. Hotel California's a hell of an album, man. Some songs I had earlier, when you put Hotel California, we'll come back to, I know you got music listed later on, I think, on the sheet here, but I wanted to throw this at you. To me, I've got like 7 songs I'll run by you, but I'm going to run this one by you while we're talking about Hotel California. Take It to the Limit, okay? That song. Yeah. And they say, put me on a highway, okay? Me and my buddy, we bought the 45. They still had 45s then, but we kept thinking he was saying, pussy on a highway, and that was the pussy on a highway song for a 12, 13-year-old boy when that came out. It was like Take It to the Limit, and it was pussy on a highway song, man. That's what they were saying on that radio. We had to hear it. We had to go down and buy the 45 down at Murphy's or somewhere, maybe Davis Music Shop. We had record shops back then too. That was another cool thing, and we'd go to those shops and look through albums and 45s, and there was one on Winchester's, the actual record shop, Winchester Avenue, but we went to Murphy's, and there was a Woolco also, and another at the Midtown, and just in this small town, and those were the ones you can go in there and just flip through them albums that had that old school feel, man, posters on the wall, stuff like that.
There's something to be said for cover art and liner notes on an actual album,
Yeah. And opening it up and finding things they had written and dedicated to acknowledgments and something they may have. I think Cheech and Chong, they put a rolling paper. I didn't own it, but I've heard it. Yeah, one of their albums. Stuff like that, man. That's pretty cool. And I'm not going to say that's when the good old days were the good old days, because I'm sure in '76 people were saying, hey, do you remember when the good old days were the good old days? And they're referring to another time, Just saying albums, though, man. Yeah, I missed vinyl's coming back in a big way from what I understand. But, just that having an album and opening it and just reading, like you said, liner notes and all that. Very cool.
Yeah. And the artwork was just, it was bigger. It looked cooler. It was worth checking out. Now, these little 1,400 square images you get with the song you download are just shit and don't matter and don't do anything. All right. Let's talk about some wrestlers who debuted.
Yeah, let's do this, man. Very interesting on debuts. We both popped last week. We kind of, once we got off the air, we kind of knew this was coming, what we were going to do for 1976, but we really hadn't done anything. And so we both probably, I think we both were on the same link, Wikipedia, if I'm not mistaken. And soon we saw the wrestlers, that debuted that year. We both just popped for it, off the air. So I'm popping for it again. Yeah. So, but start us out. You lead them, and we'll just talk about them, man.
All right. Well, the first one is going to be the excellence of execution, Bret Hart.
Yeah, man. Wow. And I didn't know that. I think he came to Memphis, I want to say like 78 or 79. I could be wrong on that. But, man, he came and you could tell automatically he was very good. I didn't know anything about the Harts other than Jimmy Hart was there as a manager. So I had no knowledge of, Bret Hart or any of the other Harts. And he came on and you could tell he's a pretty talented guy, wrestling wise. It was a little bit different. He was actually a good wrestler. You could tell it, but yeah, very cool. So like I said, so I probably didn't see him till probably, 2 or 3 years later after his debut.
Well, yeah, and I assume he started up in Stampede and was probably there.
Yeah, from everything I understood about that time frame. And I think he even might have had a Japanese tour under his belt by that time. Wow. By the time he came to Memphis, I could be wrong on that, but you could tell he was I won't say it was polished, but you could tell there's something different about him, man. The way he, just in the ring, the way he worked. As a fan, I could say, oh, this guy's good, so.
Yeah, well, eating cat shit with your eggs makes a man strong.
Make a man out you quick.
Oh, the next fellow we got here is beautiful Bobby Eaton.
Yeah, now I saw him probably from day one, and I think he actually may have even broke in a little bit earlier than 18 if you looked at his birthday as to the day he actually broke in. I think he had done some matches over in Alabama before coming over to Mid-South or the Memphis territory. But I remember him from the time he came in. And to me, he was one of the first high flyers because he could do the knee and the leg and but he wasn't getting like a really huge push or anything at that time. Of course, early on, he was getting wins though,
Yeah.
But short time when at this 76, 77, short matches, but getting over, tag matches, part of the Hard Army, things like that. He was getting exposure, I guess, what I'm getting at. But, one of my favorite wrestlers and favorite people in the wrestling business, man, Bobby Eaton. Man, there's a YouTube, about 12-minute clip, and it says Bobby Eaton Selling Clinic or something like that. Man, he's just doing it. It's really good. It's just high spots that someone put together. It's pretty damn good.
Well, he's if you want to see good like you're saying, high flying wrestling from that era before it was all overly done flippy shit.
Yeah,
you cannot do a whole lot better than Bobby Eaton.
No, and I was talking about the EA Sports up in Canada and Vancouver. He and I and a couple other guys got to be on that the video game, and we're having dinner one night. And I just asked him, I said, you're one of the best in the world at one time. I said, you one of the first high flyers, and we're sitting there just eating, and I said, how's that feeling? And dude, he's just so damn modest. He's like, huh? What you say, Bobby? Like it just, he just wanted to get off of it. He didn't want to talk wrestling. We're like, okay, and he didn't really expand upon it. He said, I just felt what felt good in the ring. It just felt good.
Yeah.
And that was about the extent of the conversation. He didn't go like, yeah, I remember I could climb the top rope really good, or I could do this. He just like, yeah, huh? What you say, Bobby? Yeah, just that's Bobby. So modest. And like you said, he said it just felt right in the ring. Yeah. So he did it. Right. But all right, this next one, man, I know is one of your favorites and favorite families. Kevin Von Erich makes his debut.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, we've talked so much about the Von Erichs that I don't know what else to add at this point. But
right.
As we go down this list, it was just like, holy shit, look at these names, man. Look at these guys that broke
talented.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you know? Mm-hmm. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, so
you go first.
Not to underplay him or anything. I just, we've spent a lot of time talking about the Von Erich family and Kevin Von Erich. So I don't really have anything to add except that, it was another great name in 1976 who was introduced to pro wrestling.
I was just going to ask you if you remember seeing him for the first time, because I don't think I saw him until probably just in magazines, even maybe early 80s, in my mind, I'm trying to think maybe early 80s at the earliest. Now, seeing him on TV would have even been a little bit later than that, I think.
Well, for me, it definitely was 80s. In the 80s, and maybe I had seen him in a wrestling magazine, because wrestling magazines here were kind of hit and miss. Like Payless might get them sometimes.
Yeah, see, that's the way ours were, man.
And
we had
WCCW would have been the first time, and I just remember, because I was a big fan of technical wrestling, but some of these guys who are just smash mouth fucking brutes impress the shit out of you when you see them. The Von Erich boys, they work stiff. Kevin could do that. He'd jump up and body scissor somebody. Just incredible leg strength.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of athleticism. And when you first saw WCCW and what you were used to was WWF, it kind of opened your eyes a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah. I just wonder if you had seen them any sooner than I had. That's why I was asking.
No, I don't believe I would have.
Funny about those magazines around here, that was the way it was too. We had a couple of newsstands within a block of each other. And they would get them, but it would be like, 1 month, one would have one and one wouldn't have the other. We had a couple drugstores, and then there was the gift shop at the hospital where I delivered newspapers at. And, you might walk in there one day and they have 3 different magazines, PWI, The Insider or something. Then next, you look for it again and you couldn't find it. You might find 3 months later, you might find a magazine. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Don't even think about that. My uncle in Baltimore, he would send us some down, a little packet like thing, and my brother and I exchanged with him what we might have had, But yeah, wrestling magazines around here at that time were very sparingly too, for a long time. Eventually, late 80s, early 90s, the one newsstand really started at least putting them out pretty regular, what we had. But that, again, I was, well into my adult years at that time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. One more from 76, Barry Orton. I think he actually didn't, he just passed away this past year. We mentioned that just a few months back. Brother to Bob Orton. And let me give another shout out to Time Warp. July 3rd, Jeremy, Tony Atlas and Bob Orton Jr. are going to be at the Time Warp in Ashland. So I want to give another plug to Earl there. Damn, him and Joe's going to appreciate this podcast. But I think I saw Barry Orton, maybe just on WWF TV or, back in the day. That might, I know he worked more than just on the TV.
Yeah.
But I think by the time I saw him, he was just doing TV stuff for God damn it, WWE or F, whatever. So, anyway.
Yeah. Well, that was a hell of a list. It's only 4 guys, but it's 4, 3 fantastic. But, Barry O was a big part of wrestling too, part of a big wrestling family.
Yeah. No, I wasn't putting him down. I'm saying just by the time I knew who he was, he's Barry O, and then you find out it's Barry, Bob Orton's brother. I just, didn't recall a lot of his career, not to be sound disrespectful or anything. It's just, he had a good 20-year run, I guess, for the territories and stuff before he was actually on TV, just, doing a match here or there or whatever, picking up a paycheck probably.
Well, and see, he didn't wear a cast, so nobody saw the family resemblance.
That's what it was. That's what it was, man. Oh, man.
Not your fault, not anybody's fault,
No.
Just,
well, this next thing here was all over my notes, and that was the, I'll let you read the news clip from April the 26th, and that's kind of, had that one and one other big deal. So I thought this was a pretty big deal. There's the two of the bigger matches of that year, or leading up to matches for that year. So what happens April 26th at Madison Square Garden?
Okay, during a televised show at Madison Square Garden, heavyweight champion Bruno Sammartino sustains a legitimate broken neck after his opponent Stan Hansen body slammed him to the mat, forcing him to miss 2 months of ring action. To explain the injury, what they did was a kayfabed story about Stan Hansen using a loaded elbow pad with the lariat. I'm surprised fucking lariat didn't break somebody's neck.
Right.
But yeah. Sammartino eventually would get revenge over Hansen, first in the showdown at Shea.
Uh-huh.
Oh, darn it, my
and a steel cage match at Madison Square Garden in August.
Yep, that's it.
Interesting enough, Kevin Sullivan, I told you I rented a ring around my birthday there several years back. Kevin Sullivan came down. He was over in this part of the country, and I had him over to the ring, and this has been about 7 years now. But he was telling stories to some of the students, and some of my friends came over, and we just had a nice little deal out in the backyard. But Kevin was talking about how in 1976 he was working in New York for Vince Sr., I guess, or Capital Sports, or what it was. Don't get the facts. I want to try to give them as factually as I can. But basically, he was on a house show, and he threw a clothesline. And I guess they called him in, or maybe on a ride home to the arena or wherever he was at. They basically said, don't throw any more clotheslines. We've got something, around this time, apparently, they were going to work that whole lariat angle. So everyone was told at that time, I guess, not to throw a clothesline, which made sense, because it was going to be one of their bigger angles. Right. Now, I'm not telling exactly how, like Kevin did, but basically, I guess word was no clotheslines, or I don't think anyone caught the lariat then except for Stan, but, don't use them because of this right here, because, and I know at one point, and I'm sure they still do it, if anyone, whatever someone's finish is on a match, whether it be the DDT or a double arm suplex or a German suplex, whatever your finish is, no one else can do that in your first, second, your opening match. No one on the card is to do your move. If it's a finishing move, no one else does it. I'm not saying this is what started it, but I know Kevin telling us that story made a lot of sense that, hey, don't do the clothesline on these shows because we're really going to put over this kayfabe, storyline that he, used the loaded elbow pad, and it was his lariat, not the body slam, that broke Bruno's neck. And that's pretty cool, I think. Not that he got his neck broken, but pretty cool. They say, hey, we got a good reason for y'all not to be doing this,
right.
So I hope I explained that correctly.
I think you probably did. At the very least, we got the high points of it, more or less.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then the other big news that year was this one here in June. Tell us about that one, because this was, again, with Bruno breaks his neck. That was huge news. And then this next deal in June starts. Tell us what's going on here.
All right.
So, this is what I remember.
Muhammad Ali is a guest celebrity at a television taping for the WWF in the Philadelphia arena. After he's introduced to the crowd, Ali enters the ring during a match. I have to assume this is the lead up to the match, but during a match.
Yeah, I'm thinking so.
Yeah, Gorilla Monsoon and Baron. I'm going to fuck this guy's name up, so sorry.
I saw that too.
Yeah. Michael Shikluna. Shikluna. Yeah.
Shikluna, I guess, yeah.
And challenges Monsoon to a fight. Monsoon responds by giving Ali the airplane spin. Back when that was a thing, people.
Yes.
Dropped into the mat. Ali is led away from the ring while Monsoon is interviewed by Vince McMahon Jr. that he says he respected Ali as a boxer. He said he's a shitty wrestler.
Yeah.
So this was kind of used as a way to build up to the Inoki Ali match.
Yeah.
I guess we'll call it a match, yeah. Now, what's funny about this is at WrestleMania, of course, Gorilla Monsoon and Ali were both there as commentators at the same time, and not one word was said. Gorilla Monsoon never said if this was kayfabe or legit.
Right.
He's old school, and he doesn't do that shit.
Right. And there's footage, I guess, is still out there. He is so big. When he goes up to that ring, man, he's just, he's gorilla, when he picks Ali up. And again, that's when that airplane spin meant something. Of course, the fight took place in Japan at Budokan in Tokyo on June 26, 1976. I just, obviously I didn't see it that time, but I don't think anyone that was like myself, sports-minded at that age. I remember people talking about it. And of course, being a wrestling fan and a boxing fan at that time, everyone seemed to know about it. I don't know that I knew the results like the next day or 2 or 3 weeks after. You know what I'm saying? I don't recall that. I just know there was a build-up that a wrestler was going to fight a boxer. And, of course, I knew who Muhammad Ali is. I probably could not say Inoki, but we knew it was against a Japanese opponent,
Right.
Other than hearing it maybe replayed back on the radio or Wild World of Sports or what have you, big deal, man, back then, big deal. So Ali, I guess in the leg kicks, suffered some blood clots in his legs and stuff, where he got down. Now, interesting fact, too, Carl Gotch was in Inoki's corner. Mm-hmm. Carl Gotch apparently had his wrestling trunks underneath his I don't know if it was actually New Japan at that. Yeah, New Japan at that time. The warm ups, and supposedly he slipped up there during the introductions, and kind of word had it he pulled his pants up just a little bit and said, "Just in case you know, there'll be no monkey business in this match." So I guess Gotch was going to be the man to take out Ali if someone fucked around. That's the way I heard it.
Well, you know who the referee was in that fight, right?
Gene LaBelle.
Yeah.
I almost stumbled on my words. I started thinking, you're going to get me on that one. Yeah, Gene LaBelle. So, again, no funky business right there, man, because he's taking care of cleaning house, too.
Yeah, that's those two guys right there, Gotch and LaBelle. That's one of those fuck around and find out kind of deals,
And it's a couple years old now, maybe even 3. LaBelle is on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he puts over Gotch big time on that podcast.
Oh, yeah.
It's good to hear. I even, for what it's worth, I was on Twitter like, God, it's nice. I just put a big thank you. Nice to hear someone mention Carl Gotch's name, and Gene LaBelle on your latest episode or whatever. Not that it got any head steam, just saying. I couldn't be the one feeling that way when LaBelle is putting over people that are. Some people don't even know who they are, but they're some of the most dangerous people in the world,
Yeah.
And you're like, damn. Of course, Rogan knew,
Well, yeah, but I wonder, would you say that, and I know there's others, but would you say off the top of your head, if you just had to name 2, would you say that Gotch and Gene LaBelle were 2 of the most legit grapplers on the planet?
I'd have to say yes, absolutely. Billy Robinson might be 3rd. I don't know. I'm sure someone else is out there, but those 2, when you mention them together like that, I think so. I ain't fighting you for it, but they might. They might,
They can have that action all they want, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's do some more pop culture real quick. I'm going to slide down, if you don't care, to the $6 Million Man, Steve Austin, man, the TV show.
Yeah.
That was the year that I think this was a 2-parter, Jeremy, if I read it correctly. Now, I was a huge fan of that show. I didn't know who it was at the time, obviously, but in 74, 75, 76, you probably could not convince me there was not a Bigfoot out there walking amongst us. And so the $6 Million Man done an episode, and there was a Bigfoot on there. And Sasquatching or whatever, Sasquatching, and it was none other than Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
And if memory serves me correctly, I don't think he actually appeared more so on the second episode when they have their showdown. Of course, that's why it's a 2-parter to leave you at the cliffhanger. Again, this is just off memory. Hell, it might have been a 60-second commercial, but I think a week went by. But they showed the footprints and they showed this and they showed that, and then finally the $6 Million Man is out in somewhere in Washington, I'm sure, maybe the fucking hills of Kentucky, as far as I knew then. But Bigfoot was out there. It was Andre the Giant.
Yep. Now,
that's pretty cool, man.
So you got to remember in the 70s, for people that may wonder why that would have been a thing, 1967 was the year that the Patterson-Gimlin footage was taken and released. They claimed to show an actual Bigfoot, and I look at that, I see what I think is a real animal. Now, there's a million arguments that go either way, and I'm not going to get into it, but whatever. But in the 1970s, there were TV shows. There was a show called Bigfoot and Little Boy, I think was the name of it, that was part of the Sid and Marty Krofft Hour. And Bigfoot was in frickin' everything. We had a Bigfoot.
Absolutely.
Bigfoot carpet store. Well, actually, we still do. Bigfoot carpet store here in town. There were Bigfoot sightings an hour and a half away in the Sonora Hills here, So he was literally everywhere. And Andre was I think later somebody else played him again, but Andre was the first Bigfoot actor on the $6 Million
Man.
Which was the number 7 show in 1976.
Yeah, you want to run down some shows where we're talking about that? I know you've done your homework, so let's look at TV shows. Number 1 does not surprise me at all.
No, not for this time. This is absolutely a big deal. Happy Days would have been number 1 on ABC.
Yes.
Listen to this fucking share, Bobby. 31 and a half.
Dude, when I saw that, I popped. I was sitting in this chair right now, and I pulled up the notes, and I saw the way you put that in the larger letters, and to get my attention, I said 31.5, man.
Nothing draws numbers like that, you know?
No.
Next is go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I'm going to let you do them, but I'm surprised number 4 wasn't number 2, actually, when you read this list.
You know,
I don't know why. I think it's because I know why, because it's back to back on ABC. I get that, but I thought this was obviously this show I'm talking about does a 25.9.
Oh yeah,
but there's a couple ahead of it.
Yeah. Well, number 2 is a spin-off of Happy Days called Laverne and Shirley. Yeah, with a 30.9 share.
Yeah.
Jesus. Here's one that kind of shocked me. I remember these. The number 3 show was the ABC Monday Night Movie.
Yeah, made for TV movies.
Yeah. I believe Kolchak the Night Stalker might have started on there that way.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
I'd have to double check what show it was. Yeah. Kolchak did such good numbers that after they released it as a made for TV movie, they were like, I wish we had just released that as a movie. So many people watched it.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 3 was the ABC Monday Night Movie with a 26 share. Number 4 is MASH on CBS with a 25.9. Now, Bobby, I wonder, because MASH was getting a couple of years on, and they had already switched over to their second cast, I believe, at this point.
Yeah, and I think the helping it stayed on until 80, 82, 80, 84 maybe.
Or 83 or 84. Yeah, it was like 11 seasons.
It went on for quite a while, but they changed the cast there a couple of times, new characters and stuff. But I was just going on that. It's obvious, Captain Obvious here as to why Laverne and Shirley's second. I would not have gassed ABC Monday Night Movie up that high, but I just remember MASH being really popular among some older people. I was over there on Laverne and Shirley still.
Yeah.
But so Charlie's Angels number 5 at a 25.8 rating.
Proving that Americans like boobs.
Yeah, there you go. And of course, another poster from that time, man, it was Farrah Fawcett in her, red one piece, little beautiful hair with a little hard nipple, if you look close enough, kind of thing. And that's every teenage boy's dream, and I bet everyone. William Harding shout out that he had a poster on his wall like I did of Farrah Fawcett Majors, Don't think she is Majors yet, but anyway. Number 6, the big event on NBC. I'm drawing a blank on that one, Jeremy.
I think, I'm going to look it up real quick. I think it was one of those here, you know what? Let me do this.
Was it a game show or a sporting event between, I'm thinking Battle of Superstars or something. I'm trying to think. It was what was the big fucking event, man?
I believe, okay, let's see here. It was their Sunday night movie.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, Sunday night movie, pulling in a 24.4 at number 6. Here we go to number 7 on ABC, pulling in a 24.2, the $6 Million Man. Wow, look at this. ABC comes out at number 8 with the Sunday night movie. So you got a big event on NBC and a Sunday night movie on ABC.
Yeah.
Wow.
But look at
made for TV.
So you gotta look at number 8 there because it was a 3-way tie.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
Sunday night movie on ABC, Beretta,
yes, sir.
And One Day at a Time.
Yeah, and that's very diverse. That's what I was looking at when you put that on there. Beretta, man, don't do the crime if you can't do the time, Robert Blake. Just saying, man.
I love that his cover story was, oh no, I was going to my car to get my gun before my wife was shot.
Oh man.
Fuck.
It's let me see here. Let me see if I got any more notes. I had one other note I wanted to. Yeah, okay, real quickly before we go to movies. On sports back there, I did put 2 other notes. Montreal Canadiens won the NHL, and I of course, obviously, dude, I couldn't tell you. anytime when I lived in Baltimore, they had the skipjacks, and that was a younger, not or the lower, I guess the like Eastern Conference or whatever, what I'm saying, before you make the NHL. So I just knew what hockey was, but I never really had seen it. So 76, it wasn't on our TV around here. But I do remember this, NCAA that year, the Indiana Pacers won. I told you, I can tell you just about, you name me the year, and I'll tell you who won the NCAA basketball. And that was Coach Bobby Knight coached them, and Scott May was the leading scorer. And that's when Indiana wore the long red and white striped warm-up pants, and they were so cool. Just wanted to throw that out to you real quick. That was just a memory I had, because the Celtics won the NBA championship that year. I know you've done football. I just want to baseball. I just want to put them out there just because I watched pretty much all those events that year, except for the hockey, of course. So anyway, just being a young kid that loves sports,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Anyway.
Well, and the basketball's right up your alley. Over here in California, we usually just call hockey until we got our own team. It was just what we called Canadian soccer,
Yeah, there you go. There you go, man.
Low scoring, people knocking the shit out of each other, but
yeah.
You know what? Let's do music before we do movies, because I know you wanted to talk about a couple things there.
Yeah, I must get down to you. So music, songs of 1976. The one I threw that one out at the appropriate time from the Eagles. I had, like I said, I had several of them mentioned. These are not in any certain order. They weren't like number one, number two, or this, that. I thought of you big time on this one here. I was just writing Bohemian Rhapsody from Queen.
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
When that song came out, and I thought it was late 75 maybe. I would double check that it was apparently 76. But man, when that song come out, I had this little record player gimmick, and had AM, FM, done 45s and 33s and 78s if you had the appropriate little donut for your, whatever that gimmick called for your 45s, But man, AM, I think it was FM rather, AMX. That's why I was getting that WMX here. WKEE up in Huntington, that was a real powerful station. They was more, but they had a couple rock stations. Of course, it wasn't classic rock then, it was just fucking rock. This is the original, Jack, but Bohemian Rhapsody, man, and I know you're a Queen fan.
Yeah, big Queen fan.
So I said, I bet Jeremy would pop for that one. So I had these songs, and I put GDU disco, but disco, whatever. So I had played that funky music, White Boy, but Ohio Players. The theme from SWAT. I was like, damn, how's that song? I didn't watch that show very much, but Shake Your Booty by Casey and the Sunshine Band. I really like Casey and the Sunshine Band, man. They were all right in my book. Take It to the Limit, Bohemian Rhapsody. Our Love is Alive, Gary Wright. I think you had this somewhere. 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. I was going to open up, instead of saying fuck you, Hutch, I was going to open up, I'm just a love machine. I'm not loving and a kissing. That was out. A song, Let's Just Kiss and Say Goodbye. That song, I had a dream one time, and that song was it. I must have been playing my record player or something when I fell asleep. I had this really bizarre fucking dream about kissing and saying goodbye, and I don't even know if I kissed it. Well, I may have played Spin the Bottle and kissed a girl at that time, but it's something crazy. But so one of my other favorite songs from that year, Starland Vocal Band, Afternoon Delight, man. That song caught me. And the reason was, again, now listen to this, dig this, man. In 1976, here in my hometown, if you were on the safety patrol, the big deal was when you got to be at the end of fifth grade, the sixth graders start training you to be the safety patrol to help the little kids cross the street. And you looked up to these little belts you had across your like a crossing guard gimmick, you know?
Yeah.
And if you did that the whole year and you sold a bunch of candy bars at the end of the year to help raise money, which I did, and my brothers did, you got to go to Washington, D.C. And I got to go to Washington, D.C. in 1976, the bicentennial year. You leave on an early Wednesday, I think it is, the schedule, but you get to spend Wednesday evening up in D.C., all day Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So you got like 3 days, 4 nights, or 4 nights, 3 days, however it works. But anyway, man, it was really cool to be in D.C. But apparently that song, Afternoon Delight, was written while the couple were talking at a diner in D.C. And that was on like, what's the top 40? Casey Kasem. He's telling a story, right? And that's the only reason I knew that. And I thought, fuck, I've been to a diner in D.C. I could have been at that same diner where they wrote that song at. You know, I'm just a little, 12 going on 13-year-old kid, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things, like I made that connection when Casey Kasem was talking about, how that song, where that song's written. I was like, oh, that's cool, man. It's just one of those little, I don't know, goofy little fucking songs. But anyway, that's just the music there. And my favorite, go ahead.
Did you ever watch Arrested Development?
I have seen it, yes.
Okay.
It's been a while, and I only watched probably several episodes in several different seasons, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
So there was an episode where Michael and his niece maybe were at they were at a fair or a party or something. They decided to sing a song together, and they sing Afternoon Delight. They get to about the third or fourth verse and realize the song's about fucking, and they're just like, we should just stop now.
Yeah. Well, I named one of my little chapters in my little XXX book out there on Amazon, Megan, Hot Wife on the DL. I named one of the little chapters Afternoon Delight, husband and wife having a little afternoon delight, you know. And speaking of which, you can get that at Amazon. You can get Yard Time, another little ebook at Amazon, and you can get Seasons F and Greetings, My Best Christmas Ever. Those are all little $2.99 little ebooks you can get, and open one of them up one day and enjoy reading it. But if you go to tinyurl.com/blazebook1, you can get Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boots Will Travel. And we'll travel back in time to D.C. and we'll write a love song together, Jeremy. Or we can go to tinyurl.com/blazebook2, and you can get I Kicked Out on 2, The Educational Wrestler. Now listen, folks, summertime, good time to get you a book, put your toes in the sand, drink in your hand, and do a little reading, man. And in the meantime, I get to sell a book. Hopefully, Jeremy's fucking affiliate account gets a dime or two put into it, and that all adds up, and we appreciate it. So kick us back some on our show, man, for bringing you this great lineup of 1976 entertainment, which is going to take us to movies, Professor.
That's right. Let me scroll down my page again.
Yep.
Movies. This is actually kind of, because I remember all of these movies pretty much, and there's actually one or two of my absolute favorites of all time are in here. Number one, and this was like a breakout star-making role, Rocky. And of course, I'm sure everybody knows, but just in case, Sylvester Stallone had to sell his dog. He was living in his car while he was working on that script. And he went from homeless and dogless to the number one movie in America.
Man. Yeah. Some say it was based off Chuck Wapner, I think, or whatever his name was, the boxer. I think he tried to sue him for something, but it wasn't proven. But yeah, Stallone, and I think he made it clear too, when you watch these documentaries, that no one else was going to do this role, because they was asking about his speech, the way he talks, and he goes, no, this role is my role, this is the character, it's me.
I wrote him Punch Drunk so I can play him.
That's right, man. Now my favorite movie of all time came out in 1976, and it's not on this list, but I'll get to that when we do the list. But man, that Rocky, man, that's one of the all-time greatest fucking movies of all time.
Yeah, it really is.
We'll go ahead and keep on going through some of these.
Okay, so the next one is A Star Is Born. I think this movie gets remade every 30 years or so.
Yeah, I think so, man. Yeah. I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say. I mean, obviously the Lady Gaga version just came out a few years ago. I can't.
Right.
That thing got so pounded into my head. I don't remember who was in the 76 version at this point.
Barbara Streisand, I think.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
And, I always think when that comes up, I always think about the movie Rose, which was the off-brand version of Janis Joplin. That is the movie I think of when you mention A Star Is Born, and I don't think about it.
Yeah, and I think Rose, did that not come out like 79 maybe? Or am I thinking of
I think it was
Pearl. Pearl. Rose come out later maybe. What am I thinking? Pearl?
Yeah, I was thinking a little later. Pearl could have been earlier, yeah.
Let's check in that because there's a good movie with Janis Joplin, that one there. It must have been later than that then. All right, so number 3, man, King Kong. Jessica Lange was in that one.
Yeah.
I didn't have to look that up, Jeremy.
Boy, no wonder that monkey went fucking batshit.
When he blew her dry, man, woo, 13-year-old hormones, baby.
I actually had the 1976 King Kong lunchbox with the thermos and everything.
Damn, that's good.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's good, man. You know what my first lunchbox was?
What's that?
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Really?
I shit you not. I was in Baltimore and I went to Chesapeake Terrace Elementary School and I had a fucking Chitty Chitty Bang Bang lunchbox and I had the thermos and those fucking thermoses inevitably break and you get all that shattered fucking glass inside.
Oh, yeah.
Or you leave your milk in it over the weekend. God damn.
You're not recovering it from that, yeah.
No. So you had a King Kong lunchbox. How cool, man.
That was
Very cool.
Pretty badass.
Very cool.
Yeah, I was probably 5, so it was a couple years after it came out. I was in kindergarten, and I had this big red lunchbox with a giant monkey and Jessica Lange on it.
Oh, man. Yep. I heard that. So Silver Streak comes in at number 4. All the President's Men. Robert Redford, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, Redford.
And,
Dustin Hoffman? Is that right?
Yeah, I think so, yes. And the Silver Streak, of course, was Gene Wilder and fucking, what's his name? Richard. I'm
locked up. I'm actually going to have to look.
Richard Pryor. Yeah. Is Richard Pryor isn't in Silver Streak. My bad. That's the one we're in.
He is.
Is he?
Yeah.
I was thinking Stir Crazy. Okay. Yeah. Gene Wilder.
Joe Clayburgh, Richard Pryor, Patrick McGowan, Ned Beatty, Clifton James.
Ned Beatty. He just passed away, man.
He did.
Just a couple weeks ago. Anyway.
Score by Henry Mancini. I believe Henry Mancini did the Friday the 13th score, too.
He done a lot of them, man. Yeah. Here's you one. The Omen.
Yep.
That's when The Omen come out.
One of my absolute favorites.
I figured that's the one on that list. When I looked at it, I said, his favorite. I said, horror films, that's Jeremy. That's The Omen.
Richard Donner was at the top of his direction game when he did this. Now, I don't really care for quote-unquote supernatural horror, but this was so tense. So just like, what the shit is happening in this movie? And then at the end, when it all comes together and you realize that kid is is now in line with the government and just like, oh shit. That was just great and so tense. And hell, the music would make you shit your pants,
Yeah. Number 7, The Bad News Bears. I really liked that. Yes, I really dug a young Tatum O'Neal. Of course, Walter Matthau, the coach. Of course, they did a remake with Billy Bob Thornton. About time they probably do another one, I imagine.
Nothing new's getting made, so.
Yeah, Bad News Bears was a pretty cool movie, I enjoyed that. And then The Enforcer, man, Clint Eastwood. Can't go wrong with a good Clint Eastwood movie. He went from spaghetti western cowboy to becoming, big city detective. And, hey, You know, do you feel lunky punk? Well, do you? You know, I'm not the best Clint Eastwood voice. I'm just saying, but you just know you don't fuck with Clint Eastwood. You know, Dirty Harry, you just don't fuck with them.
You know what? You know, am I wrong? Didn't the Outlaw Josie Wales come out in '76, or am I thinking wrong?
You know what? It may have, and I tell you, it's funny that you mentioned it because it's been all over my my TV screen. Not YouTube. Yeah, YouTube's got it for rent. Amazon, I think, and also it's on Netflix right now. It may have come out in '76.
'76, yeah.
Okay, hell, good call, good recall. Yes.
Yeah, well, you know what? I've been watching and reading a lot of little Western shits here lately, just like short stories and things.
Yeah.
And I was looking at some factual things. Like, you know, I still get hung up. Like, High Plains Drifter and Pale Rider are damn near the same movie, except there's a little bit of Shane in Pale Rider, you know?
Yeah.
But I was looking at some, like, gunplay stuff, and I guess, like, one of the first times they showed what's called the road agent roll, which is where you hand your pistols to somebody backwards. So they can take them from you, and then you spin them and shoot both guns at the same time. I think the first time that was shown was in the Outlaw Josie Wales.
And what's that called?
That's called the road agent roll.
Road agent roll. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Cool deal, man.
I know that was a long way to go for me to talk about gun shit.
No, I know you're into that. In Search of Noah's Ark was number 9. I don't recall that.
I don't like that shit. Not religious stuff. I just don't like it when they're taking stuff like you obviously can't find it, and you're going to go make a movie about it. You know?
Yeah, I don't even recall it. Hell, you know. Yeah. Midway was number 10. Now, any comments on any of those? Because I'm going to give you my favorite movie of all time.
Oh, please.
Came out in 1976. So I just did an interview with the guy. I'm not plugging it right this second because I have to get more to details, but it's going to be up on YouTube soon. A gentleman from Australia done an interview with me, and you asked me my top 10 movies, and it's automatically I've got a top 5 songs and this and that. Movie-wise, man, I get farther and farther removed from this because a lot of people that know me are going to say Bobby probably is Pulp Fiction, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's my number 2. And the reason is because my number 1, man, is a Martin Scorsese film from 1976, Travis Bickle, Taxi Driver. That's my all-time favorite movie. I love that character. He's driving around. He'll drive anywhere, you know, Harlem, wherever they need to go. He'll pick them up. He's just a disoriented Vietnam veteran, you know, that tries to save this young prostitute, Jodie Foster. She's like 12 years old, run away from Pittsburgh in New York City, and Harvey Keitel's in it as the pimp, you know, and to me, it's really dark, but it's also got a lot of meaning to it. And now here's the thing. I would tell you this. I don't think I could have, because my best friend and I, we went to a lot of movies. It was our weekly thing, man. It was a big deal to us. And his mom would take us to some, or to get us into some that were not PG-13, and the ratings were different then. But the R was an R, you know. Yeah. R was a 17.
Yeah, but they used to show titties in PG movies back then.
Yeah. So I don't know if I saw it like during its first run, but I saw it in probably 77 or 78. I was young, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just was like, and thought about that character. Just for, I didn't even know who, I'll tell you this, I didn't know it was Robert De Niro, other than I knew that name until 1980 when he did the Jake LaMotta that boxing movie. I'm drawing a blank on it. That's when I knew exactly who Robert De Niro was. You know what I'm saying? But in Taxi Driver, I didn't know him at that particular time. I just knew it was an actor portraying a taxi cab driver, you know. Right. And I really dug it. I was drawn to that movie for whatever reason. Travis Bickle, you know. So anyway, there's that. Do we have anything more wrestling lined up here, man?
You know what,
so that's actually my movie.
It was kind of a thin, not that it was nothing going on, but it was kind of a thin wrestling year for the stuff we normally talk about.
Yeah. I know you have some other notes up here. Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, over here, I went and pulled up some, like, who was the U.S. champion in San Francisco in 76. Maybe there was a cool turnover. No, Mr. Fuji was going through a 2-year championship as U.S. champion here at the time. So there was no fast turnovers. There were 3 or 4 tag team champions, but Pat Patterson was on half the teams,
There you go. I know you did the PWI Wrestler of the Year. He was also the NWA champion entire year, you said, and that was my main man, Terry Funk.
Yep.
So read out some more of those things, I guess, because that Rookie of the Year is interesting.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So Rookie of the Year was Bob Backlund in 76. That's kind of a cool one. Bobby Heenan, of course, was Manager of the Year.
Of course.
And the inspirational wrestler of that year was Bruno Sammartino. I'm assuming that was due to the broken neck.
Yes, we had that come up, if you recall, in we were in 1978, and it had Inspiration of the Year, and it was Blackjack Mulligan, but we never knew why.
Yeah.
Obviously, on this Inspiration of the Year, it had to be Bruno coming back from that broken neck, a legit broken neck, and then also working it to an angle to draw money on 2 more huge shows that we discussed. Let's see, AWA champion. It could have went probably either person if someone were just asked me, but due to that time period and being a wrestling fan at that time, I would have said Nick Bockwinkel and got it right, correct?
Yeah, and see, I actually, when I went to look it up, I was sure it was the other guy.
See, I wasn't because of the year. I just was like, it seems like around for about 3 years there from 76 to 79, I was getting a whole lot more Nick Bockwinkel instead of Vern as far as magazines and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I would have guessed that. That didn't mean I knew it. Just saying I guessed it. And, of course, WWF champion Bruno, of course. And I assume he kept that the entire year as well.
Yeah, that's as far as I could see. Cause
all major titles.
Yeah.
Held on.
I went and looked this up just for the fun of it because I brought it up. So in 1976, the San Francisco territory, right? The year opens. Pat Patterson and Pedro Morales are the tag team champions. They drop it to Don Morocco and Invader number 1. And then Pat Patterson and Tony Gurria take it from them. And then the Royal Kangaroos win it. And then Jimmy and Johnny Valiant pick it up, and they end the year as the tag team champions here. But in 1977, in February, they lose it to Pat Patterson and Pepper Gomez.
So Pat Patterson was like on every damn team, you said.
Yeah, he was just like, I'm a tag team specialist. I'll wrestle with you and get my belts back. He should have just been the tag team champions and taken whoever he wanted, I guess. It's like, you come up with me. We make it the tag team champions. I guess that was more Italian than French, huh?
So I'm looking over my notes. I think you mentioned, you had listed a few songs that I didn't list. I went off kind of my list, not yours. I don't, of course, a couple of them were, same. But, I don't have any more notes that I see going over here, man. Oh, another movie that I really liked, and I actually thought this came out later, Jeremy. Mm-hmm. It came out in 76. It's Car Wash. Dude, that had George Carlin and Richard Pryor and the fucking Pointer Sisters and so many big stars making cameos in that. And I just, I've got a copy of that movie. I'm like yourself. I'm sure you got all kinds of DVDs and old VHS and Blu-ray and whatever not. But Car Wash, I would have thought that came out like 79ish. I don't know why, but maybe because it was doing a loop on HBO. You know what I'm saying? One of those movies that they picked up and played, as the regulars as I got a little bit older. But anyway, that movie and song came out, I guess, in 76, and I just kind of almost. Anyway, I had Taxi Driver Rocky and Car Wash came out that year, and you had the whole shit Kiggles and caboodle of them all.
Well, I pull up 2 things here that I got to throw in here, okay?
Please do.
1976, Alice Cooper Goes to Hell.
Dude, I was going to tell you that. That was going to be my surprise.
Ah,
that's what's going to be my surprise for you.
Oh, damn it.
I got that going into the 7th grade. I think I got it. I don't know. Okay, month of release, I'm going to say October-ish. Could have been a little bit sooner than that, but I got it when I was in 7th grade, part of about 76, the latter part, because I had it. And I was going to ask you about it. I was going to ask you because I know that album had a green, creepy face of Alice Cooper on it, man. And you can go to hell. Man, I like that album a lot.
It was a great album.
Yeah.
Even We Meet is a great song that's on there.
Yes, man. What a fucking song.
Yeah.
Man.
Wake Me
That was going to be my surprise question at the end for you.
See, I'm sorry.
Alice Cooper. No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, here's the thing. I double-checked it to make sure, because I knew it was before from the inside. But also, they've been running commercials. Alice Cooper's coming to Kentucky in October. Maybe that's why I said a release date in October. But he's going to be here, but it's like an hour and a half away at Pikeville at the Expo Center. And the last time he was here, the only reason they didn't go, he was in Charleston, which is even closer. But the ticket was like fucking $76 or something. And I was like, by the time if I paid for like me and my brother or me and one of my friends, you're like, that's a $250 night, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, he's coming in October. I don't recall the date, but he's at the Expo Center in Pikeville, Kentucky. Wrestled there. So anyway, for Alice Cooper. So that's a good album, man.
I didn't know this. This is actually a sequel album to Welcome to My Nightmare. It's also about Steven. I did not know that about this album.
I didn't know it was a sequel to that. Welcome to My Nightmare. No.
It's the second half of Steven's story. I did not know that.
Okay. I did not know that either.
And then just because we've been talking about it like once a week, in 1976, Meatloaf provided the lead vocals on Ted Nugent's album Free For All when regular vocalist Derek St. Holmes temporarily quit the band. Meatloaf sang 5 of the 9 album tracks.
No shit.
Yep.
Did not know that. Cat Scratch Fever, that year it came out?
That is on that album, right?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
check that out. So, yeah, I don't know. So Meatloaf, we've just turned this into a pop culture, rock, roll, TV, commercials, movies, and pro wrestling. And Bobby revisits his fucking years that he turned 13, the bicentennial of the United States of America in 1976. And we had a pretty damn fun time about it, man. We mentioned some wrestling in this, but I'll say this. I think it was very enjoyable, and I'm not winding it down. If we are, that's fine, but I know this much. The Fonz had not jumped the shark yet.
Not yet, but
not yet.
It was coming.
It's coming. It was coming. So anytime you get that spinoff, you're like, okay.
Well, Mork and Mindy was a spinoff of Happy Days.
That's right.
There was like a whole shit ton of them that you don't realize that they were Happy Days spinoffs. But and of course, Happy Days itself was a spinoff of Love American Style. And it was a big deal because George Lucas's American Graffiti had just come out.
Oh, no. American Graffiti, was that 74?
I think that was
73.
I think it was 74.
Okay. I know it played at our local cinemas. That's one of the first movies. I want to say it's about 74. They played it forever. It just kept staying over it. Now, we had two. We had, like, when I was younger, we had two downtown movies, the Capitol and the Paramount, and then the cinema, which it had 2 at the time, only 2 theaters. They eventually had 4 screens, I think. They went 2 at the time, and American Graffiti stayed on there forever.
Oh, yeah. Well, obviously, it was a big deal here because it was about growing up here.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah.
But, Modesto would not let him film it here. So you'll notice they never actually mention the city of Modesto in there. They do say Turlock, which is a small town south of here. But even to the point where they dedicated a statue to him and he sent a videotape to accept it.
He is not into it, huh?
Yeah. Well,
so was that 74?
I will.
Or 76?
I will find.
I mean, not 74, 73 or 74, but I'm thinking 74. But yeah, we're in 1976. Hey, if you're a wrestling fan, you're a wrestling fan. If you're a pop culture fan, you're a pop culture fan. If you're a Bobby Blaze or Jeremy Vilmer fan, you're a fucking Bell to Bell with Bobby Blaze podcast fan. And we appreciate that.
1973.
I was thinking it came because it ran so long in 74 here, Jeremy. That's the only reason I was thinking 73 could have been. Yeah. So thanks for bringing that up, and that's why you're a professor. So we've had some guests in the past. This is our happy 4th of July. Eat a fucking hot dog, drink a cold beer, enjoy yourself, man. After the year we had last year, hey, we're in 2021 now, man. Keep protecting yourself, but hell, enjoy yourself if you go out. I'm going to probably just do some grilling here at my house on my own. But, hey, I hope everyone has a nice 4th of July. What I was going to say is, had a couple guests in the past, and we're going to have future guests the next couple weeks. So if Jeremy wants to give that away as to who's coming on, that's fine. If he doesn't, that's fine. But we do have some interesting guests the next couple weeks we're going to be recording with. One of them has a popular YouTube channel. I'll say that. And one of them has a popular OnlyFans page. I'll leave it at that. OnlyFans page is your clue on that.
Let's hope that translates to podcast. You know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's see here. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up because we're about an hour and 20 something right now, which is plenty as far as length and girth goes. All right, Bobby, anything you want to wrap up on, or are we just going to call it quits?
You know what, man? I've already said happy 4th of July. Jeremy, thanks for the fucking notes this week. And everyone, just take care of yourself, and thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate it big time. Big time. Thank you.
Yep. All right, everybody. For the late Tex Johnson, myself, Professor Jeremy Vilmer, Arn Anderson's favorite enhancement talent, Double B Bobby Blaze. Remember, everybody, don't blow your hands off with any fireworks. Drink responsibly. And if you do get syphilis, it's only syphilis. So have fun. Everybody enjoy 2021. We'll catch you soon.